Chapter 1. The recruit who doesn't know his place. The elite military academy did not tolerate weakness. It did not tolerate mistakes. And it certainly did not tolerate distractions, which was why Luke Anderson existed at the very top of it. He was not only the captain of the most powerful group on the military, but also the commander. Again, his voice cut through the training field like a blade, sharp, cold, absolute. A recruit groaned from the ground, struggling to push himself up. Luke didn't blink, didn't soften, didn't care. "Your enemy won't wait for you to catch your breath," he said flatly, arms crossed behind his back. "So why should I?" The rest of his squad stood in rigid formation, visibly tense. Not because they were afraid of failing, but because they were afraid of him, Luke Anderson, the only scentless alpha in the history of the academy. No pheromones, no emotional leakage, no instincts clouding his judgment, just precision, just control, just terrifying efficiency. "Captain," one of his squad members muttered under his breath, "you're going to kill us before the battlefield does." Luke didn't even look at him. "Then consider it advanced preparation." A few snorts broke out. Someone whispered, "We're doomed," earning a sharp elbow to the ribs. That was his squad. Elite. Deadly. And completely incapable of shutting up. Luke tolerated them. Barely. "Formation reset," he ordered. They moved instantly. Because unlike others, they respected him, feared him, followed him without hesitation. Everything was exactly how it should be. Controlled. Predictable. Perfect. Until... "Commander?" Luke didn't turn. "I didn't call for interruptions." "Oh, I know," the voice replied lazily. "I just don't particularly care." Silence. The entire squad froze. Because no one spoke to Luke Anderson like that and lived comfortably afterward. Slowly, Luke turned. And that's when he saw him. The new recruit. Tall, relaxed, standing like he owned the ground he walked on. Dark eyes, sharp, amused, completely unbothered. And worst of all, locked entirely on Luke, like nothing else existed. "Name," Luke said. The recruit smiled. "Xian." A pause. Then, like he was adding something trivial. "Your new problem." One of the squad members choked. Another whispered, "Oh, he's dead." Luke stared at him. Expression blank. Voice colder than winter steel. "You were not assigned to speak." Xian tilted his head slightly. "You didn't tell me not to." Luke moved before anyone could react. Fast. Precise. In the next second, Xian was flat on his back. Pinned. Luke's knee pressed into his chest, arm twisted behind him in a perfect lock. The squad collectively winced. "That," Luke said quietly, "was your warning." Xian didn't struggle. Didn't resist. Didn't even look annoyed. Instead, he smiled. Actually smiled. "You're even better up close." Silence. Absolute silence. Someone in the back whispered, "He's insane." Luke's grip tightened. "Do you have a death wish?" Xian's gaze flickered, not to Luke's hold, but to his face. Slow. Intent. Hungry. "Not particularly," he said softly. "But I do have excellent taste." A beat. Then, "You smell sweet." The world stopped. The squad blinked. Once. Twice. "What?" someone whispered. Luke's expression didn't change. But something in his eyes sharpened. Colder. Dangerous. "I don't have a scent," Luke said flatly. Xian hummed. "You do to me." And that was the moment Luke decided. This recruit was going to be a problem. A very serious problem. The problem only got worse. Left flank. Luke's command rang out across the training ground. The squad moved instantly. Efficient. Coordinated. Deadly. Except Xian, who was not doing what he was told. At all. "Xian," Luke snapped. "Position." "Busy," Xian replied casually. He wasn't even looking at the formation. He was looking at Luke. Again. Always. Like he had nothing better to do. Like Luke was the only mission worth completing. One of the squad members muttered, "I think he's in love with you, Captain." "I think he wants to die," another replied. Luke ignored them. Mostly because he was too focused on Xian. On the way, the recruit moved. Too fast. Too precise. Too powerful. When Xeon did engage, targets dropped instantly. Clean. Effortless. Like it meant nothing. Like they meant nothing. Top of the food chain. And he knew it. Which made his behavior even more irritating. Because despite his strength, despite his rank, despite being specially admitted by higher command, Xeon did not follow orders, did not respect authority, did not behave like a recruit. He behaved like someone indulging a game. And Luke was the only thing keeping his attention. Focus, Luke snapped. I am, Xeon said easily. Their eyes met, and for a brief, annoying, unexplainable moment, Luke felt it. Something unfamiliar. A flicker of calm, safe, gone as quickly as it came. Luke's jaw tightened. Annoying. Everything about this man was annoying. Again, Luke ordered. Xeon stepped forward this time. Finally. The squad immediately backed up. Oh, this is going to be good. 10 credit says Captain breaks him. You're on. Xeon rolled his shoulders lazily. You're going to hit me again, aren't you? Luke didn't answer. He moved. Strike. Block. Counter. Xeon caught it. Fast. Too fast. Their movements blurred. Precision against instinct. Control against chaos. Luke struck again. Harder. Xeon didn't dodge. He took it. And smiled. Actually, smiled. Harder, he murmured. Luke's eye twitched. The squad lost it. He likes it? What is wrong with him? Luke drove him into the ground again, pinning him. Breathing steady, controlled. You're insubordinate, Luke said coldly. Xeon looked up at him. Eyes dark, unapologetic. Completely gone. For you? He said softly. Always. Someone screamed into their sleeve. Luke stood immediately, stepping back like he'd touched something he shouldn't have. Get up, he snapped. Xeon did. Still smiling. Still watching. Always watching. By the end of the day, Luke had reached a conclusion. Xeon was dangerous. Not because of his strength, not because of his rank, but because, for the first time in his life, Luke Anderson felt distracted. And worse, drawn. Only toward him. Captain, Luke snapped back. What? The next mission briefing, the squad member said carefully. You zoned out? I don't zone out. You were staring at him. Luke turned sharply. Xeon stood across the field, watching him. Of course he was. Their eyes met. Xeon smiled. Slow. Knowing. Like he'd already won something Luke didn't remember playing. Luke looked away first. Annoyed. Irritated. Unsettled. Unbelievable, he muttered. Listen up, Luke said, voice cutting through the evening air. The squad straightened instantly. We have a survival mission. Groans. In 3 weeks. Louder groans. In the rain. Silence. Then. We're going to die. Luke ignored them. You will operate as a unit. No mistakes, no distractions. His gaze flickered. Just briefly. To Xeon, who was already watching him. Of course. Failure is not an option. Xeon tilted his head, smiling, like he'd just been handed exactly what he wanted. And for the first time, Luke felt it. That strange tension in the air. Heavy, building, unavoidable. Like something was about to snap. As the first drops of rain began to fall, Xeon stepped closer. Just enough. Just within reach. Commander, he said quietly. Luke didn't look at him. What? A pause. Then, soft, certain, dangerous. This is going to be fun. Luke exhaled slowly. You smell like a problem. Xeon's smile deepened. And you, he murmured, smell like mine. Chapter 2. One night mistake, or not. If there was one thing the elite military academy loved, it was Xeon. If there was one thing the elite military academy feared, it was Luke Anderson. And somehow, those two had become inseparable chaos. Captain. Luke didn't look up. Speak. Your coffee. A pause. I didn't ask for coffee. You didn't, Zian agreed easily, placing the cup beside him anyway. But you didn't drink your last one either. Luke's pen stopped. Slowly, he looked up. Zian was standing too close. Again. Always too close. Like personal space didn't exist in his dictionary. Are you monitoring my caffeine intake now? Luke asked flatly. Zian tilted his head, considering. Yes. Why? Because you get headaches when you skip it. Silence. From the entire room. One of the squad members whispered, He's domesticated. Another whispered back, The captain or the psycho? Luke ignored them. He always ignored them. Except, his gaze lingered on Zian for a second too long. You're wasting your time, Luke said finally. Zian smiled. I don't think so. It got worse. Much worse. Captain, you're zoning out again. I do not. You are, another chimed in. You've been staring at him for 5 minutes. Luke froze. I have not. You have, a third added helpfully. We timed it. Luke turned. Zian was across the training ground, laughing with a few recruits. Effortless. Bright. Like he belonged everywhere. Like people were naturally drawn to him. Which they were. Because Zian was, annoyingly, everyone's favorite. Instructors praised him. Recruits admired him. Even the higher-ups treated him differently. Because his power? Unmatched. Because his presence? Impossible to ignore. And because his attention was always fixed on one person. Luke. Zian looked up, caught him staring, smiled. Wide. Victorious. Luke immediately looked away. Unbelievable, he muttered. Behind him? Captain, you're blushing. I am not. You are. Shut up. It started small, subtle, barely noticeable. At first, Luke didn't react to pheromones. Never had, never needed to. But Zian was different. Always different. It happened during sparring. Zian moved behind him. Close. Too close. And for a brief moment, Luke felt it. Warmth. Calm. Like the constant tension in his body loosened. Just a little. He stilled. Zian noticed immediately. Of course he did. There it is, Zian murmured. Luke snapped out of it instantly. Back off. Zian didn't. Instead, he leaned closer. Voice lower. Almost soft. You feel it too. Luke's grip tightened. I feel nothing. Zian smiled. Lies. After that, it kept happening. Unintentionally. Inevitably. Zian would pass by. And Luke's shoulders would relax. Zian would stand close. And the world would feel quieter. Safer. It made no sense. It irritated him. And yet, he didn't stop it. The squad noticed. Of course they did. Oh, this is bad. This is very bad. Our captain is gone. Completely gone. Luke turned sharply. I can still hear you. Yes, Captain, they said immediately. A pause. But respectfully, you look softer around him. I will have you all running laps until sunrise. Worth it. Zian, on the other hand, was thriving. Completely. Unapologetically. Obsessively. You skipped lunch. Luke didn't even ask how he knew. I wasn't hungry. Zian hummed. You are now. A protein bar appeared in front of him. Luke stared at it. Then at him. Are you serious? Yes. I hate you. Zian smiled. You don't. The worst part? Luke ate it. The squad gasped like they'd just witnessed a miracle. He ate it. Oh my God. We're documenting this. I hate all of you, Luke muttered. Zian watched him the entire time. Soft. Fond. Like this. This right here. Was everything. By the time the survival mission started, everyone knew two things. Zian was completely, undeniably, insanely in love with their captain. Their captain was slowly losing the war. The rain started before they even reached the forest. Cold. Relentless. Unforgiving. Perfect, one of them muttered. Just perfect. Stay focused, Luke ordered. They moved as a unit. Efficient. Disciplined. But the conditions were brutal. Hours passed. Then more. Exhaustion set in. Clothes soaked, bodies heavy, breathing uneven. And through it all, Xian stayed close. Always within reach, always watching, always there. You're slowing down? Xian said quietly. I'm not, Luke replied immediately. You are. I said I'm not. Xian stepped closer. Close enough that Luke could feel him. That warmth again. That calm. Stronger this time. More dangerous. You don't have to pretend with me, Xian murmured. Luke exhaled slowly. His defenses, for the first time, faltered. It's the cold, he said finally. Xian didn't call him out. Didn't tease. Didn't push. Instead, he moved closer, shielding him slightly from the rain. Subtle. Instinctive. Protective. And Luke didn't stop him. Night fell. The forest grew quiet. Too quiet. They set up camp. Minimal shelter. Barely enough warmth. The squad huddled together. Exhausted. Half asleep. Luke sat apart. As always. Alone. Until Xian joined him. Of course he did. You're going to get sick, Xian said. I'll survive. Xian studied him. Long. Carefully. Then, he moved closer. Closer. Until their shoulders touched. Luke didn't move. Didn't speak. Didn't resist. And that was enough. Xian's presence wrapped around him. Warm. Steady. Safe. Luke's eyes slipped shut for a second. Just a second. Dangerous, he murmured. Xian's voice was soft. Only for anyone who isn't you. Something shifted. Something broke. And in that quiet, rain-soaked darkness, control slipped. Walls fell. Distance disappeared. And for the first time, Luke didn't feel alone. The rest of the night blurred, heated, breathless, and far too close to something neither of them was supposed to cross. Morning came too fast. Too bright. Too real. Luke woke first, and immediately regretted everything. Xian was beside him, relaxed, satisfied, watching him. Good morning, he said. Luke stood up instantly. Cold, distant, untouchable. That shouldn't have happened. Xian sat up slowly, completely unbothered. It did. It was a mistake. Xian smiled. No, he said quietly. It wasn't. Luke didn't respond. Didn't look at him. Didn't acknowledge the way something inside him had changed. By the time they returned, Xian had evolved. From problem to absolute menace. Hovering. Constantly. Appearing out of nowhere. Eat this. No. You need it. I said no. You'll eat it. Fine. The squad watched in horror. We've lost him. Completely gone. Xian rested his chin lightly on Luke's shoulder. Possessive. Casual. Territorial. Stay close today, he murmured. Luke froze. Why? Xian's eyes darkened slightly. Because I don't like it when you're too far. Silence. Then, oh, he's crazy. Captain, blink twice if you need help. Luke didn't respond. Because the worst part? He didn't want help. And somewhere deep down, he knew. This wasn't over. Not even close. Chapter 3. I'm not pregnant. I'm just bloated. The academy gym was dead silent. Not because it was empty, but because Luke Anderson was currently bench pressing a weight that most people wouldn't even attempt to look at. Count, Luke ordered. 48, one of his squad members said weakly. Louder. 48. Clank. 49. Clank. 50. The bar slammed back into place. Luke sat up, breathing steady. Controlled. Unbothered. Like he hadn't just broken his own record. Again. He's not human, someone whispered. I'm telling you, he's built different. Shut up, Luke said flatly, grabbing his towel. Then, the door opened, and the temperature in the room dropped. Oh no. Speak of the devil. He's here. Xian walked in like he owned the place. Relaxed. Unbothered. Dressed in training black. and smelling like expensive cedarwood and pure possession. Luke didn't even look at him. "Get out, Zero," he said, wiping his face. "You're supposed to be in tactical strategy." Xian leaned casually against the squat rack. Eyes locked on Luke. Dark. Hungry. "I'm exactly where I need to be," he said. A pause. Then softer. "You're pale, Commander, and you've stopped drinking your morning espresso. Why?" The squad slowly backed away. "Because this was their favorite show," Luke scoffed. "Maybe I'm boycotting caffeine, or maybe your face finally made me lose my appetite." Xian pushed off the rack, stepping closer. Closer. Too close. His gaze dropped slightly. Breathing in. Slow. Intent. "You smell different," he murmured, "like sunshine and mine." The entire gym froze. One guy whispered, "Sunshine?" Another whispered back, "We've lost him." Luke looked at him like he was about to commit a crime. "I smell like sweat and industrial-grade floor cleaner. Move." Xian didn't move. Of course he didn't. He never did. The sudden changes started the next month. The symptoms? Subtle at first. Then, not subtle at all. Luke stood in the middle of training. Paused. "Captain?" someone called. Luke turned slowly. "Did the world just spin, or was that me?" Silence. "That was you," one of them said carefully. "I'm fine." He was not fine. Day 2. Luke took one sip of coffee and immediately turned away. "What the hell is this?" "That's coffee," someone said. "It tastes like betrayal." Day 3. He punched a wall. Not because he was angry, because he was irritated. "Why am I irritated?" he snapped. "Because you're always irritated," someone offered. "I'm going to end you." Fair. Day 4. Xian appeared behind him again. "Of course. You look unwell. I look like I want to hit you." "You always look like that." "True." Xian stepped closer. Luke didn't move away. Didn't even realize it. Until that calm hit again. Warm. Steady. Safe. Luke exhaled without meaning to. Xian noticed. Immediately. His expression softened. Dangerously so. "There it is," he murmured. Luke snapped back. "Stop doing that." "Doing what?" "Existing near me." Xian smiled. "Can't." By the end of the week, the squad had reached a conclusion. Captain is dying. Captain is not dying. Then why does he look like he's going to throw up every 5 minutes? Valid point. Luke turned. "I can hear you." "Yes, Captain." "Respectfully, please go to the medical wing." "No." "You just threatened to throw your boot at me." "I will still do it." He lasted 3 more days. Then, he snapped. "Fine," Luke said flatly. "I'll go." The squad cheered. "We won. It's a miracle. I hate all of you." The medical wing was quiet. Too quiet. Luke sat there, arms crossed, irritated, annoyed. Done. "This better not be a waste of my time," he muttered. It was not. 5 minutes later, he stared at the report. Blankly. Silently. "Explain." The doctor smiled nervously. "Congratulations?" Silence. "No." "Yes." "No." "Yes." Luke blinked once. Then, annoying. Xian found out in less than 10 minutes. Of course he did. He walked into the room. Took one look at Luke. Then at the report. And ascended. Actually ascended. "Mine," he whispered. Luke slowly turned his head. The look in his eyes? Murder. Pure murder. "If you say one more word," Luke said calmly, "I will end your entire bloodline." Xian stepped closer instead. Smiling. Soft. Completely gone. "You're carrying my child. I am carrying a problem. You're carrying our future. I am carrying irritation." The doctor quietly left. The squad was already outside. Listening. Of course they were. "Is it true?" "Tell me it's true." "Oh my God, it's true." Luke walked out. Slow. Deadly. Silent. They shut up immediately. "Captain?" one of them tried. Luke looked at them. Expression blank. Voice flat. I'm pregnant. A pause. Then, okay. Yeah, that tracks. Honestly, we saw it coming. Luke blinked. You what? You literally let him feed you. You stopped hitting him as much. You stare at him. You smell like him sometimes. I will end all of you. Then, the moment. Luke crossed his arms. Irritated. Done. If I'm giving birth, he said flatly, it better look like me. Silence. Then, the squad burst out laughing. Oh my God. Captain. That's not how. I don't care. Zian stood behind him, watching. Eyes soft, possessive, completely, utterly gone. Like he already owned the universe. Like he already had everything he ever wanted. It will, he said quietly. Luke didn't respond. Because for the first time, he didn't know what to say. And behind them, the squad whispered. He's smiling. Yeah. We're doomed. Chapter 4. Touch him and die. Peace lasted exactly 3 days. 3. The squad had just started adjusting to the idea that their terrifying, untouchable captain was pregnant, involved with a psycho Enigma, still scarier than all of them combined. Naturally, the universe decided that was unacceptable. It happened during a routine patrol drill. Clear skies, standard formation, nothing unusual, which was exactly why Luke noticed it first. Stop, he ordered. The squad froze instantly. What? Too quiet, Luke muttered. Zian beside him had already gone still. His usual lazy posture? Gone. Replaced with something sharp. Predatory. Wrong. Commander, Zian said softly. Luke's fingers tightened around his weapon. I know. And then, everything exploded. Gunfire. Fast. Precise. Deadly. Ambush! The squad scattered into formation instantly. Returning fire. Controlled chaos. Luke moved like a machine. Cold. Efficient. Untouchable. Until a bullet grazed past him. Too close. Far too close. Zian saw it. And something snapped. The air changed. Heavy. Violent. Wrong. Zian, Luke started. Too late. Zian turned. Slowly. And for the first time, the squad understood something terrifying. This man was never normal. He moved. Not fast. Not precise. Not controlled. No. He moved like a disaster. The first attacker didn't even scream. The second didn't get the chance. The third tried to run. Zian caught him. Easily. Lifted him off the ground like he weighed nothing. Eyes dark. Empty. You looked at him, Zian said softly. The man choked. That's... His voice cut off. Because Zian smiled and snapped his neck. The squad froze. Holy... What the hell? This is not normal. Luke watched. Silent. Unmoving. Expression blank. But his eyes. Sharp. Focused. Following every movement. Zian didn't stop. Didn't slow. Didn't hesitate. Blood. Screams. Silence. One by one. They fell. Not a single survivor. Not a single mistake. Only destruction. Pure. Brutal. Terrifying. And when it was over, Zian stood in the middle of it, breathing steady, clothes stained, eyes still, gone. Luke walked toward him, calm, unbothered. Are you done? He asked flatly. The squad choked. Are you done? Zian blinked. Once, twice, and just like that, he was back. Soft, warm, completely obsessed. You're hurt, he said immediately, reaching for Luke. Luke slapped his hand away. It's a scratch. Zian's jaw tightened. Dangerous. You're not allowed to get hurt. Luke stared at him. That's not how reality works. I'll change it. You're insane. Yes. No hesitation. No denial. Just fact. The squad huddled together. Captain? What? Your boyfriend is terrifying. He's not my... A pause. Luke glanced at Zian. who was already watching him. Of course. He's a problem, Luke corrected. That's not better. After that, things changed. Dramatically. Zine stayed closer. Closer than before. If that was even possible. Hovering. Watching. Guarding. Where are you going? To the briefing. I'll come. No. I'm coming. Fine. The squad whispered. We've lost him. He's completely taken over. Captain Blink if you need help. Luke ignored them. Because honestly, he didn't feel like stopping him. Which was annoying. 3 days later, the academy gates opened, and everything went to hell. Black uniforms, silent steps, weapons that screamed authority. The entire academy froze as they entered. The Black Guard? No way. Why are they here? Whispers spread like wildfire. Because everyone knew. They only answered to one person. The king. The terrifying, reclusive King Alaric Thornwood. Rumor had it, he was searching for something. Or someone. His stolen treasure. Luke stood at the front of his unit. Armed, calm, prepared. Stay sharp, he ordered. The squad nodded. Tense? Ready? This wasn't a drill. This was power. Real power. Then, a figure stepped forward. From the Black Guard. The air shifted. He wasn't wearing a recruit's uniform anymore. No. He wore charcoal military formal wear. Decorated. Heavy. Commanding. Enough metals to sink a battleship. The squad stared. Wait. No. No way. Luke didn't move. Didn't react. Didn't even blink. Because he already knew. Of course he did. The general stepped forward. And bowed. Deeply. Your Majesty, are you finally done being undercover? Silence. Absolute. Shocking. Earth-shattering silence. The squad turned, slowly, to Zion, to Alaric. And then, he spoke. Calm, cold, unapologetic. I'm here to retrieve my wife, General. The squad collectively lost their minds. Wife? WHO. No. Click. The sound of a gun being raised. Luke, standing there, aiming directly at him. Unimpressed, unbothered, unshaken. I'm not your wife here, Luke said flatly. A pause. Then, and you're 3 minutes late for formation, Your Majesty? Silence. Then, one of the squad whispered. They're both insane. Another nodded. Yeah. We're doomed. Zion. No. Alaric. Smiled. Slow. Possessive. Victorious. Like he had just found what he came for. Like everything was exactly as it should be. And just like that, the power shifted. Not away from Luke. Never that. But around him. Changing. Expanding. Becoming something far more dangerous. Because now, their captain wasn't just theirs. He was the king's obsession. Chapter 5. We were never strangers. Our captain is marrying. The king? No, say that again. Our captain is marrying. The king. I'm going to pass out. You already did. I'm passing out again. The royal palace had never seen chaos like this. Not from enemies. Not from war, but from Luke Anderson's squad. Don't touch that. I'm not touching. Why is it gold? Everything is gold. Why are there 5 chandeliers in one room? Luke stood in the middle of it. Dressed in formal black. Perfect. Composed. Done with life. I should have stayed at the academy, he muttered. Behind him. Arms wrapped around his waist. Warm. Possessive. Unmoving. You're home, Zane murmured against his neck. Luke didn't push him away. Didn't even try. You're suffocating. Yes. Annoying. Zane smiled. You love it. Luke didn't respond. Which was answer enough. The wedding was ridiculous. Luxurious. Over the top. Exactly what a king would do. Exactly what Luke hated. And yet, when Zane stood in front of him, eyes soft, hands steady, looking at him like he was everything, Luke didn't complain. Not even once. Do you accept? Yes, Zane said immediately. The priest blinked. Eek. I haven't finished. I already have? Of course you do, Luke muttered. Commander, the priest tried. Luke sighed. Yes, the squad cried. He said yes again. We witnessed this twice. We deserve compensation. Married life was worse. Much worse. Because now, Zane had official permission to be unbearable. Eat? No. You need nutrition. I need silence. You need both. I regret everything. You don't. And somehow, between royal duties and military command, they made it work. Luke still led his squad, still trained, still terrified everyone, while Zane ruled a kingdom and followed Luke around like a shadow, a very dangerous, very obsessive shadow. Your Majesty, a minister said nervously, we have an urgent… Later. It concerns the borders. Later. Sir, you're holding the commander's hand. Yes. In the middle of court. Yes. Luke didn't even look up from his report. Continue the meeting, he said flatly. The minister nodded. Terrified, confused, emotionally damaged. The pregnancy was chaos. Pure chaos. Luke was still Luke, which meant I can still train. No. I'm training. You are not. I will outrank you. I will lock you in a room. Try. The squad watched. Place your bets. 10 credits on captain. 50 on the king. 100 on mutual destruction. Despite everything, Zane never left his side. Not once. Not even for a second. You're staring again, Luke muttered one night. Zane didn't deny it. You're breathing. That's not unusual. It is to me. Luke paused. Then, you're impossible. Yes. Soft. Certain. I'm yours. Months later, the palace echoed with a different sound. A cry. Small. Sharp. Alive. It's a boy, the healer announced. Silence. Then, give him to me, Luke said. They did. Carefully. Gently. Luke held him. Like he didn't quite know how. Like he was afraid. Not of breaking him, but of feeling too much. Zane stood beside him, watching, completely still. He looks like you, Luke said after a moment. Zane smiled softly. He will. Good. A pause. Then, name? Luke glanced at him. You choose. Zane looked at the child, then at Luke, then back again. Aurelian. Luke nodded once. Fine. That night, for the first time, everything was quiet. The room was unusually quiet. For once, no one had anything to say. Luke's squad, his loud, chaotic, fearless unit, stood frozen, staring at their captain like they had never seen him before. And maybe they hadn't. Because right now, Luke wasn't the cold, untouchable commander. He was asleep, curled slightly into Zane's chest, his expression softer than any of them had ever witnessed. One hand rested over his stomach, protective, instinctive. And Zane was smiling. Not his usual smug grin, not the teasing, provocative smirk. This one was quiet, fond, almost reverent. He adjusted the blanket around Luke carefully, as if even the air had to ask permission before touching him. Then, finally, he spoke. Softly. Since you all look like your brains stopped functioning, he murmured, eyes never leaving Luke, I suppose I should explain. No one interrupted. No one dared. Zane let out a small breath, almost a chuckle. We've been together for 18 years. Silence. One of them dropped something. No one picked it up. He was 8, Zane continued softly. I was 10. Flashback. A palace garden. Bright. Quiet. A small boy stood there. Arms crossed. Annoyed. You're in my space, Luke said. Zane blinked. I like your face. Luke punched him. Hard. Zane fell. Then, smiled. I'm going to marry you. You're stupid. Back to present. We were engaged soon after, Zane said calmly. The squad looked like they were about to collapse. What? Zane ignored them. He left 2 months ago. A pause. Because I was too much. Soft. Honest. For once. He said I was suffocating him. Zane's fingers tightened slightly around Luke. He wasn't wrong. Another flash. Luke packing. Zane grabbing his wrist. Stay. No. You're mine. I'm not your possession. You are. Luke pulled away. I'm leaving. Back. So I let him go, Zane said. Silence. But I followed. A faint smile returned. Dangerous. Fond. I joined the academy. The squad stared. You what? He pretended not to know me. I played along. Because I wanted... Zane looked down at Luke. Eyes softening. I wanted him to choose me again. Everything clicked. The flirting. The obsession. The madness. The pampering. The chaos. It wasn't new. It was intentional. And it was working, Zane added lightly. Until someone tried to kill him. The air shifted. Dangerous again. Cold. I don't play games when it comes to him. A pause. Then, I would rather burn the world than lose him. Silence. One of the squad finally spoke. Sir. Zane glanced up. Yes? You're insane. Zane smiled. Yes. No denial. No hesitation. Just truth. Another voice? Captain knew? Zane hummed. Yes. A beat. He knew from the moment I walked in. The room exploded. He what? Are you serious? This was all a lie? Luke stirred slightly, mumbling in his sleep. Too loud? Zane immediately hushed them. Quiet. They shut up instantly. Zane pressed a soft kiss to Luke's hair. Gentle. Possessive. Absolute. He was never mine to chase, he said softly. He was always mine. The squad stood there. Stunned. Broken. Emotionally destroyed. They're both crazy, someone whispered. Yeah. Perfect for each other. And in the quiet, with their child asleep nearby, and the world finally still, the truth settled. They were never strangers. Never accidental. Never temporary. Just two people. Bound long before the beginning. Who chose each other. Again. And again. And again.